Hey, what's up? It's Chris, Redbeard Videos, and I have another special guest to join us here on the channel, and I'm very, very excited about this one because I've been into this band for quite some time. They're very much on an ascension, and I'm glad that I caught them before they got too big to talk to me. And that is none other than Asger Mygind, head guy, lead singer from VOLA. And if you're not familiar with VOLA, you need to familiarize yourself with VOLA because they are kind of the melodic answer to all the djenty stuff that's out there. There's a little bit of aggressiveness when it comes to the vocalization and the way that they do things, but most of their aggression comes through the music. Their music is very heavy at times, but also some of their songs are some of the most chill, laid-back tunes I've ever heard. Incredibly melodic, but also rhythmically solid and very djenty and heavy at times. They're moving further away from the djenty stuff, I feel, on their later albums, and we'll get into that because Asger also spent time with me to do an entire Fandom Files. So if this interview isn't enough for you, then we will have a whole Fandom Files coming up in the coming months with Asger Mygind going through the entirety of the VOLA catalog. But for right now, for this spot right here, we're going to be talking about mostly current things. I mean, we touch upon the history a little bit, but mostly it's the current stuff. Brand new album coming out, Friend of a Phantom, due out November 1st. The tour starts in Europe on November 1st, and they just released a new single, one of 4 singles that was released from this album so far. This one has a video, it's called Cannibal. It also features lead vocalist for the band In Flames, Anders Frieden. So it's a bombastic tune. It's very cool to hear a heavy scream on a VOLA tune. We get some of it sometimes in the older stuff, but by Asger's own admission, bringing Anders in to do the aggressive vocals was definitely an uptick in the aggressiveness. So make sure you check out their new single Cannibal for sure, which we're going to talk about here. But before we get into all of that, let's please check out my social media places. I'm on Facebook. I'm on all the places. It's on the screen. Boom. It's like an explosion. Boom. Social media places. They're everywhere. I also have a Patreon. I also have a Linktree, which is Redbeard Network, because I have a bunch of things that are going to be coming up soon. So I'm rolling all of this out piece by piece, slowly as I can. I'm trying to get it out quickly, but I'm only one person, so it's a lot of work. But I really care about this. I'm really having a great time, and that's really all that matters. So please like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment or 2 or 3. Get your friends to come over. If you know your buddy's into VOLA and you're watching this, send them the link. It doesn't hurt anybody, and it only helps me and VOLA for that matter. So it helps all entities involved in this video if you forward this stuff along. So feel free to share my channel, my videos, and specifically this one. And now, let's get to it. Asger Mygind of VOLA, right here on Redbeard Videos. It's Chris, Redbeard Videos. I'm here, and I'm so excited to be here. This is like one of my favorite bands of the last, I would say, 5 to 7 years. Since I first heard them, I've been completely enthralled with the heaviness, the progressive nature, yet not ostracizing, and beautiful music of Denmark, right? You guys are from Denmark?
Yeah, 3 of us, and the drummer is from Sweden.
Okay, so let's say Nordic bloc, but we'll say
Yeah.
primarily from Denmark.
Yeah.
VOLA, which if you've watched my channel at all, you've heard me talk about them, but I get the pleasure to speak to the main man in this band, Asger Mygind, and you don't say the last N, the last D, by the way. So I just learned that. Asger Mygind, vocalist and guitarist. How are you, sir?
I'm very good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. But it's 1,000,000% my pleasure. You have no idea. So let's just get started with what just transpired, which is you guys just released a video for the song Carnivore, as I may say it. No, Cannibal. Sorry, I keep doing that. Cannibal with the lead vocalist from In Flames, Anders Frieden. I think I said that right. And I've had an actual opportunity to hang out with Anders, and he's a cool dude. But let's hear your perspective. How was it first recording this song with such a well-known artist at this point?
Well, that was amazing. Like it's one of the bands I grew up listening to a lot, In Flames. So to have his vocals layered with mine is is mind blowing to me. Um, and I still don't really I still can't really understand it. I think that it happened.
Well, isn't that so cool that like when you're a band that's like breaking in because like Vola's very much you've definitely made huge strides in the since the last album cycle for sure. Since Witness came out, Vola's definitely broken in. You had a big U.S. tour, which I got to attend twice, which was wonderful. And
Nice.
so how does something like this, like something with Anders, how does that type of collaboration come about? Do you send out feelers, or does Anders show up and just be like, "Hey, I dig your guys' music. We should work together." Like, how did this transpire?
Well, we actually met for the first time far away from Denmark. We met in at the Troubadour in Los Angeles
Well, that's weird.
when we yeah when we played there last year. Uh, and Yeah, we spoke with, I think, their In Flames' management beforehand, and was told that Anders and Bjorn from In Flames were going to be at the show. So eventually we spoke with them backstage, and we found out that they were big fans of the band. So that was quite surreal.
Right?
um, and also just playing the gig, knowing that they were in the audience. I think that maybe played like a little bit better than what I usually do. Not so many fuck ups, just
You
because I had to play well for those guys.
right, you honed in, right? You focused on it. You're
Yeah,
like, that's it.
yeah, it has to sound good this time.
Well, when you have a
Uh,
riffmeister like Bjorn out there, like
yeah,
that's guitar pressure, and then you have the singer, like you have double the pressure there, Asger. Like it's
yeah,
crazy.
exactly. I was it was a bit intimidating, but we made it through somehow. Yeah, and then we came home to Denmark afterwards and started really diving into recording this album. And we had the song Cannibal, which I had done some screams on for the demo version. But listening to it, we thought that it could really use like another gear of screaming, something that just sounded more aggressive, and Anders can deliver that. So
Yeah.
we wrote him, and having just like established a connection with him, he was up for it, and he recorded his parts in Sweden and sent me the files, and eventually also came to Denmark to film the music video. So
Which is a great video, by the way. Go check it out on
cool.
YouTube. The song is Cannibal. It features In Flames, Anders Frieden, and it's just it's a banger of a tune. It's the fourth single from the upcoming Friend of a Phantom, which comes out November 1st. Tour in Europe also kicks off November 1st in I don't know where.
In all
In
yeah,
Denmark.
in
There you
Denmark.
go.
We start in Denmark, yeah.
Yeah, so Denmark, Norway, Finland, Sweden, Germany, Poland, Czech Republic, all the regular places, all the places I
Yeah.
have yet to visit, which I desperately want to. But yes,
You should.
so I will say, and we're gonna, we're gonna do another bit here where we get into the albums, but I will say that for the first time, I can honestly say that with these songs, I'm not hearing a whole lot different. Is it safe to say that you guys have settled on what Vola's sound is? Because the first three albums kind of was a almost like a metamorphosis, and then like Witness came along and kind of melded everything together. Is it safe to say that Vola has settled into a groove of what you want to sound like on a consistent basis, or is it just for this album? It just turned out that way.
Uh, yeah, we I think we went into this process not having like a big specific vision for how it should sound. Um, we had that for Witness. That was the first time we worked with Jacob Hansen, who mixed the album,
Hmm,
and we very much wrote the songs into his sound.
interesting.
Um, and this time we actually worked with him again, but we at this point we had Witness out of our system, and it felt like we could sort of take a new way in. And at the beginning we searched a lot for that specific vision of how things should sound, but like eventually what worked best for us was just to write the best songs we could and not think too much about like how it sounded genre-wise or like how much it resembled Witness. It was just doing what excited us. So yeah, that's what you hear on the album. So yeah, I totally get why people hear many traits of Witness in it.
Yeah, no, well, absolutely. I don't mean to say that it sounds the same. It doesn't sound the same. It's just like from In Mazes to Applause to Witness, you can hear a very distinct
Yeah,
difference in each album. And Witness was the first
yeah,
one where I can kind of point to it and go, there seems to be a cohesion here. And
yeah,
now with this one, it seems to continue that direction. That's what I meant. Like none of these songs sound like I didn't hear one of these songs and went, well, this sounds like more of the same. Like, no, it definitely does
yeah,
not. You guys are definitely creating new things. So because all four of these songs have a slightly different feel to them too. Like Paper Wolf is a little anthemic. You know, it's got like an anthem,
yeah,
like a repeat
yeah,
type of chorus thing where Break My Lying Tongue is, it's a little more subdued. It's not as heavy as Paper Wolf was. But then you got like Cannibal, which is like got the screams and the whole bit. So as a vocalist, then are you reluctant, like when you do the screams, are you reluctant, like are you gonna full out do these screams live now, or are you gonna have like a recording of Anders, or like how is that gonna work for you?
yeah. That's something we've been discussing a lot these past few weeks, actually, now preparing for the tour. Um, I don't think I can spoil anything at this point, but
Okay, fair
we will
enough.
for sure we will play the song on tour. Um, and it might not sound the same every night. That's all I can say.
That's cool. That's good. I like it. A little tease. I like it. You got to come to the show,
Yeah.
guys. You got to come to the show. Yeah, because I know with like these Black Claws from Witness, obviously you were going to use a recording because, I mean, Shaman's got that very distinct, way about him. It would have been, I don't know, it might have been
Yes.
weird to have you just kind of bebop
Yeah,
rap
I
over
can't do
that.
that.
Now as a primary, like, so you primarily, there have been screams on the Vola albums before, but they're like few and far between. It's not a main aspect. Have you always done those? Has that always been you?
Yeah, that's always been me.
Okay.
But yeah, mostly just as an effect here and there.
Right.
Because yeah, the clean vocals are what I feel most comfortable doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a bit more on this album. A bit more harsh vocals that I tried diving into. So
Hmm.
that was exciting also to add that flavor.
Now, is that something new that you had to work on for like now the live performances that are coming up that you had to like kind of be concerned with?
Yeah, that's I'm gonna spend maybe the next couple of days actually trying to make that like fully um sort of get into my body so that it feels comfortable.
Yeah.
Like something happens when I put on the guitar. It's like it's a different posture than just being in a vocal booth.
Right.
Yeah, that's something I have to train.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's also it's got to be a little bit of a worry because like you're just starting this tour cycle, which we'll get to in a moment. But like I'm sure you have a very long album cycle to get through. I'm sure you guys are going to
Yeah.
try and come back to the US and tour the world on this. So with that, is there a plan in place yet to tour the US, or is that still in the making?
Actually, we just announced today that we will come back in March to the
Woo!
US,
Exciting.
supporting intervals.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. So it's
Yeah,
not going to be a headline this time. It's going to be
it,
in support.
yeah, yeah, it will.
But it's better, but it's going to be bigger venues though because you're supporting intervals, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that was like we like intervals, of course,
Of course.
and like on top of that, it just felt attractive to yeah to visit some bigger places um, and see how that fits us.
So you guys, I didn't see the announcement. It didn't come across my computer here yet. So how many dates are in the US scheduled so far? Like is
uh,
there like a long tour
well,
or
it's a month,
okay.
and I can't remember how many off days there are.
But it's through the month of March.
So yeah, from the a little into March to a little into April, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so like yeah, because this hasn't even hit your website yet, so this must be brand newbie
It's on a
announcement.
it's on our Facebook at least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Awesome. Yeah, cool. Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
I can now plan for the whole thing. You guys should try and hook up with like Dream Theater or something.
That
That would be
would
perfect.
be
Let's do
great.
that. They're touring the world. Let's do that. Let's do that.
Yes.
Um, so so what else about the new album can we look forward to? Like, so we were just talking a little bit about the cohesion of Witness and how that kind of combined the first two albums into like this new thing. And now the four singles, you're giving four different flavors. Is that are those four songs like a very good representation of what we can hear on Friend of a Phantom, or is there even more surprises to come?
I would say there are more surprises.
Yeah.
There
I mean, is
are moments that are even more mellow than like I don't know how we got here, and
mm,
there are parts that are heavy, or also I would say maybe not more aggressive, but like more heavy, and something that moves a bit closer to these Black Claws in terms of that hip hop sound also.
wow, that's cool.
Um,
That's very cool. Like, are you influenced by hip hop, or did it just happen that way?
I'm definitely influenced by hip hop. I think something happened when I heard Tyler the Creator, for example.
Interesting.
Like some of his stuff is just really dark and has this slow tempo and gloomy production that I think has a lot of resemblance with metal, actually. So it just felt sort of obvious, at least to try to see if it would fit into our universe.
Yeah,
Um,
I would say it did. That's
that's
a pretty
awesome.
incredible song. I just love that song, and then it turned me on to Shaman as an artist, and that guy's stuff is wicked. Like he's got some wild things. And it's funny that you
Yeah,
bring up how hip hop kind of seems to make sense in a metal realm. When I was researching a script for White Zombie's first major release, La Sexorcisto, and Rob Zombie went on to say that like his vocalization is heavily influenced by like gangster rap, and I was like, that's
yeah,
wild, and I can't unhear it now. Like now that I've heard it, I
yeah,
can't unhear it. I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense now. So
yeah,
so there's more of that coming. That's cool.
yeah,
Now the one question I do have is I don't think you guys only have like one long song in your whole catalog, like one of those long epic prog songs. I believe it's In Mazes,
yeah,
right? Yeah, it's almost 8 minutes.
yeah,
Is that something you
yeah.
guys explore ever, or like, like so I guess the question I want to ask is, do you consider yourselves progressive metal? Is that something you aim to do, or was that just again just a natural result of what you were writing?
It seems like it's just a natural result of what we're writing. It's not something we've been seeking consciously to be a part of. I really like when the productions are detailed and you listen, like you can hear something new every time you listen to a song. So I like if the progressive side is within the layers and the production. Um, I've never been that interested in like making something sound complicated. Um, it's nice if it's complex, but it should be easy to listen to. So there should be something you can dive into. Like there should be a complex world you can sort of dive into, but
Sure.
on the outside, it should feel very welcoming. I think that's some of the music I like the most that is like that. And like I grew up on the Beatles, for example,
Mm,
and they make very short, like to the point songs. Uh, like most of their material, at least I know they have experimented also.
sure.
But I just really appreciate a song that's like intro, verse, chorus, C part, chorus. That really speaks to me.
Yeah.
And if we can express what we want to express within that context, I'm totally satisfied. I don't need it to be longer than that.
Yeah, no, that's well, and that's great. Like I think that's why I asked the question because I've come across recently bands that don't aim to be like Genesis or Yes or anything like that, but they just pack it into smaller packages, but they're still as complex. And Vola seems to accidentally pull that off. Like I described. Somebody asked me recently. I did a podcast where we were talking about bands that we feel like deserve more attention or more love. And you were one of the bands I chose. And the way that I would describe it is, it's like you're like this heavy, genty prog beautiful music. Like that's it's even in the heaviest stuff. Like what was the song? I was literally just listening to Applause, and no, I was listening to In Mazes. The song on there is that gets me every time. I always forget the name of it. Your Mind is a Helpless Dreamer. That song
Yeah.
to me is such a beautiful, wonderful song. And just brutally heavy. Like at the show we were at in Baltimore, the heaviest like mosh pit we saw was during that song. It got out of
Nice.
control. I was like, "What's happening here?" so, so
That's cool.
so I find it cool that not only that, but like what you just said matches exactly what you are, and so few artists have been able to do that. Like, and it makes perfect sense that you're influenced by the Beatles. What brought on like the gent sound? Like, are you influenced by like Meshuggah? Like, is that another thing that influenced you or?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest bands for us for
Mm,
sure. Uh, like I heard, when I heard Nothing for the first time in 2004, I think I was just blown away by like how the guitars sounded, like the way they tuned them down, and like the way they write riffs, having this constant 4/4 feel, but with something like an odd time going on top of it. That really spoke to me. Like you can bang your head to it, but at the same time there are these subdivisions
yeah.
that make it interesting to listen to.
And,
Uh,
and and I would say
yeah,
that you guys are like maybe the yin to Meshuggah's yang, where it's like you're the melodic version of the brutality that is, because there's no melody to be found in Meshuggah. Like there's just
not really.
that is just
Very
a
few.
yeah, that's a rhythmic bombast that rivals that no one rivals at all. And you guys kind of do that, but you also bring this amazing melody. So, all right, so the new album is out November 1st. It's out everywhere November 1st. There's four singles out right now on streaming, on YouTube, wherever. The album's going to be called Friend of a Phantom. Is there a lyrical theme to this album, or is it just a collection of songs?
It's not a concept album. So it you could say it's a collection of songs, and then the title is sort of derived from an overall uh, like feeling we got from like listening to it all. We saw this red thread that went
Sure.
through the
Okay.
songs, and named it after that. But no, it's not a concept album.
But there's a thematic thing to it, like in terms of the
Yeah,
music and all of that. You'll get the same feel. That's cool.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
because there's the bands that do the collection of songs thing. Because I feel that on Witness too. Like Witness is not a
Yeah,
concept album, right?
no,
But it certainly has a feel to it without question. And I think you guys do that affectionately. I think you do that effectively. That's the word I was looking for. The tour kicks off in Denmark on November 1st as well, the day the album is released. So what better way to celebrate an album release than playing live, right? Are we going to hear
exactly.
how many of these songs do you think you're going to carry with you through this tour? Is it your goal to play every song live at a point, or do you just have a selection of songs from a new album that you want to play?
Um, I don't think we'll play all the songs, but we'll play like a majority at least.
Nice, nice, great.
Yeah.
All right, so be sure to catch Vola on tour. They'll be coming to the U.S. in March, pairing with Intervals, which is awesome. That was just freshly announced. It's not even on my computer screen
Yes.
yet. And then who are you touring with in Europe? I forget here. Who's with you in Europe?
It's Charlotte Vessels,
Okay, cool.
um, and the Insosphere,
Okay,
and uh, for some of the dates, Feather Mountain.
okay.
Like
Bench.
Feather Mountain will do the first few gigs, and then the Insosphere will take over. But Charlotte vessels will be there for the whole tour.
You play bigger venues in Europe, right? Like bigger
Compared to
spaces.
the US, or
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, they're a bit bigger. Yeah,
So that's good. And you usually sell well, I assume, because you're doing well here in America too. So I'm imagining Europe goes wild for you guys, right?
yeah, we have like Paris is sold out at this point, and like a few places has a low ticket warning.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
So yeah, fingers crossed we will sell more
That's
venues
awesome.
out.
That's so great. And then do you have any other bigger plans? Like, are you guys going to do Asia or South America or anything? Is there anything like that on the burner or?
Yeah, we have big plans for next year, both in terms of touring and festivals. Like we
Nice.
really want to hit the big European festivals next summer, and yeah, maybe like visit parts of the world that we haven't visited yet. So watch this space.
Do you guys ever like check out like the festivals here in America? Like we have like a whole slew of them that are like rock and metal festivals, like Sonic Temple or Aftershock in California, Sonic Temple's in Ohio, I think Carolina Rebellion. Like, do these festivals reach out to you or do you have to like search them out and be like, no, we want to be on this lineup? Like, how does that work?
I think like usually our booking agent, like he gets the offers from the festivals, but of course we only get offers if it looks like we're sort of available.
Right.
Um, and I think that's why we don't get offers from the US ones, because I think they would have to see that we're over there already.
Like, would it be worth it for you to like if you're not over here on a tour necessarily, but like one of the big festivals here, like Aftershock in California, which gets regularly, I think they get close to 100,000 people. Like, I think it's that type of number. Would that be worth it to you to do a one-off, like even if it's like an afternoon slot or like, a 45-minute slot to just get in front of that many people? Is it worth it to you that even if you're not on tour to do that?
yeah, I think so. So it yeah, like it all depends on the like if we can get our expenses covered
Right, right.
from flying over there, and of course it also has to fit with us getting a work visa. Yeah, there are some things that need to fall into place, but yeah, I would love to do it.
So a visit to America to play is actually a very involved, difficult thing to do. Even if you're
Yeah,
on the cusp of being popular, it's still not the easiest thing to do.
no, exactly. It's something you need to prepare for like a long time in advance to succeed, really. Um, so that's what we're doing now in terms of the tour in March with intervals.
And I bring that up because my American friends here, if you want this awesome metal to continue, you need to get out and buy tickets to see these bands who come here from other countries because it's not easy, guys. It's not easy. So
Yes,
I was thrilled that I saw you guys in two small venues headlining, but the places were packed. Like the places were both sufficiently filled. So it was super cool. So I want to thank you for chatting with me here. But
yes.
tour starts November 1st. Album comes out. Friend of a Phantom comes out November 1st. Be sure to check out VOLA on this time around because it's hard to get here, guys. It's hard to get here. So you never know when they're coming back. You got to make sure they
Exactly.
come back, right? Thank you so much for your time, Asger. I appreciate it, man.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Your eyes have gone hiding in your head.
And that's it. That's my conversation with Asger Mygind of VOLA. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to check out all of VOLA's stuff. Their album's coming out November 1st. Phantom, A Friend of a Phantom. Their newest video, Cannibal, is everywhere right now, and it's on all the streaming sites, and it's on YouTube, and it features In Flames vocalist Anders Frieden. So if you want to find a way to introduce yourself to a new band, maybe you don't know VOLA, but you do know In Flames, and you love In Flames, check out this song. It may turn you on to something that you didn't think you'd like before. Also, VOLA will be doing an American tour, so if you're watching this in the US, be sure to check out their sites, their socials, and the whole nine to make sure that you catch the show because I can attest the show is worth checking out. I've seen them twice headline, and it's a phenomenal show. It's just really good. They're a very tight band. They bring a decent stage show for a band that's just breaking in now in America. So they do a decent job of all of that, despite the fact that they're still on the lower levels of things, but they're on the ascension. They're on their way up. They're starting to do collaborations with bigger artists. That's always a sign that someone's on the way up. So that's a good sign. Also, on a personal note, please like and subscribe to this channel because I have so many things that are going on. You can check out all my socials. It's right here on the screen, like an explosion, like I said before. I also have a Patreon page, which is Redbeard Videos, and I also have a link tree, which is the Redbeard Network. And the Redbeard Network is an interesting thing because there's a few different channels on this platform that I am now producing, and they're taking time. So I'm going to try and churn out content as quickly as possible. But without the likes and the subscribes and the visits to my Patreon page and whatnot, it gets a little difficult because if I don't get picked up by the algorithm, then it doesn't go anywhere. So I'm not going to sit here and beg for subs and likes. I'm only going to say it one time per video, and that's it. So, but the Redbeard Network thing, I have the Sports Right, I have Proctology 101. There'll be a trailer on the channel coming up very soon that will explain all of that. So visit the trailer and you'll understand everything that's happening. So again, I want to thank you so much for being here. As I always enjoy being here with you, and we will see you soon. And until then, bye-bye.